F3 Season 5 Round 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Fs in that one.
Yeah.
FRL, F1, 2021, F3 Season 3 Round 1. And there's a lot of numbers.
I think
Yeah, I'm
ours...
subscribed to the FRL, so notification comes through. Oh, mate, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just being cold.
Yeah, no worries. And we are live, so hello and welcome to the first ever FRL F4 FRL, not GHR FRL F4 Race 1. We've got 18 drivers raring to go, and it's going to be a brilliant season, I'm sure. I was joined with Dan, but he's had to obviously go, so he'll be back as soon as possible. I don't think, unless anyone's told me in Discord, I think we can get ready to go. I'm just checking. I think I'm in spectator mode. Oh, Stephen now. Dan is as well. Jake's here. Lewis is here. So I think everyone can ready up, unless there's someone I'm missing. But we should be ready to go for the first ever race in F4 Round 1. We're going to actually have a new winner, because everyone in this grid has never won before. Some haven't even scored points before. Obviously a lot of new people joining this season. It's going to be interesting to see how they do. 29 laps as well, with a short 18-minute qualifying session, so this shouldn't be taking any longer till 8:30 maybe, if any of you have a timetable. But it's going to be a brilliant race, I'm sure, and qualifying with 17 drivers. We have, I think, now 3 more than we had last week, and hopefully maybe a few of the guys who haven't joined will join in qualifying. But it's going to be an absolute cracker. There's probably going to be a lot of carnage, a lot of overtakes, and especially around Bahrain, there will be even more overtakes. 3 DRS zones, unlike a lot of other tracks which do have 2. It's going to be really exciting, as it says 8 out of 17 have readied up, but the time's not on. As soon as I say that, it goes on. So it's going to be a good one. Also got a few new faces in terms of, I think it's PSNs. Demoniac's joined the FRL team as well, as along with FRL Andy, after they also, I think, both got podiums in a Spain pre-season. In terms of the Bahrain pre-season, I believe it was Sepp who's moved up to F2 as a reserve after he can obviously make Mondays. And I need to check who was following them up in second and third. I'd have a guess to say it was Bink, but as I just check here, it was... yeah, Sepp took the win from Bink, and in P2 was Bink, and yeah, in P3 was VIP GTA Gamer. And Dan, are you back? I dare say. Maybe not, maybe I spoke too soon, but here we are for the qualifying session. 17 drivers ready to go. I'm just going to sort this out to see which one is best. I think that will be fine. And we are all ready. It's going to be a really good race. Obviously, the teams got released. I think it was last... I dare say Thursday. I think it was, as I'll check that as well, as my memory is absolutely shambolical. As it was 3 days ago, so I think that was Friday or even Thursday, and not many people, or none at the moment, out on track, so maybe we've got a little bit of a timing glitch, but hopefully we'll see some new guys on the tracks. Hopefully we're obviously going to have a new pole sitter as well for the first time ever on FRL F4, so there's a lot of new records going to be set tonight. Hopefully people go to the track, otherwise it does seem so we might need a restart. But as I say that, Lewis KOS FC in the Mercedes, his team are taking off the tyre warmers, I think. As I think there's, I dare say, an Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo, and now a Mercedes going on track. So looking at who that is it Humanoid? No, sorry, it was an AlphaTauri. Mine's me, but Jake Gamer here as well, returning after pre-season in Spain. Didn't think he was actually going to make it today, but Lewis alerted us that he is ready to go as a reserve, so it's going to be good to see how he does. He's replaced Ty's Loose for tonight, so got some pressure on his shoulders to perform in the first round of the season, but it's going to be an absolute screamer this race, and qualifying as well. It was really close last time in Spain pre-season, so hopefully we can get more of the same here. And it's going to be really exciting, as as we said, Jake is the first one coming out of turn 10, I believe that is, on his lap as it's switched to Race to Death and back to Jake Gamer. So this is going to be a really good qualifying session. Obviously, all equal cars. The Red Bulls aren't on top because it's realistic. So as Jake Gamer just comes around through this third sector, he's going to be the first driver to take us on a lap, number 93 in the AlphaTauri. Just looking who's behind him. I think it's I dare say Evil Zook. Yes, it is Evil Zook behind him, but we will go on board with Jake Gamer in the AlphaTauri and see what he can do, as he's actually already managed to invalidate his lap, and I think he's got this and next lap invalidation, which does mean he can't complete this lap, so that's not ideal for him. So we will go back on board with Evil Zook, who hopefully is valid, and he is. Okay, so the man from Walsall, actually, in fact, he's going to see if he can probably in a race better his best ever of an 8th place in Hungary, when it was in dry to wet conditions, or I think wet to dry, just in this chicane of 7 and 8, just slightly missing the curbs. Seems to be taking it quite easy, Zook, which is good to see. There's a lot of these drivers, we don't want to see many crashes as there's yellow flags for a Red Bull in the last sector. Just coming through turn 10 here, he actually hits the apex very nicely, and on the traction, fairly smooth, picks up the DRS. Sees what he's going to do here. And just breaks 75 metre ball for the left. The Alfa Romeo's looking on a fairly good lap here. This is going to set the pace. Hopefully he doesn't invalidate for this lap, obviously. Coming through. Prefers to use 4th gear rather than 3rd for, I think that's turn 13. And then there's actually 2 corners left. Not many people know this, but it's turn 14. So this is turn 14. And then turn 15 is that as well. You can hardly tell, but Iwazu's going to set the pace here up to the line. Hopefully it's under the 129 mark, and it is 128.9. Iwazu sets the pace strongly. I think there's a Mercedes as well who's on a lap. Oh, and it's Lewis KYC does a 26.7. It's not Race to Your Death, but Race to Your Death is also coming round. I think Paul's got balls. He's in second as well. There's another Alfa Romeo of Bar who's coming round on the lap. See what he's going to do, but we're on board with Race to Your Death. And Bar takes pole. Bar takes provisional pole, a 10th up on Lewis. Let's see what Race to Your Death can do, and I don't think it's going to be pole, but it's going to be P3, so Mercedes looking strong as well. And his lap's going to fly, and Volvo on the mediums. Lewis as well there, pops up into 5th. See what the Haas can do. Hopefully he's going to be up on his time. And the Haas goes 3rd there with Andy, so that's a strong lap from him. It's going to be interesting to see what everyone else can do. I think VIPGJ Gamer, that is, he goes 5th. So the pace from Bar is really strong. A lot of the guys on mediums is about 1.2 seconds off, which is where you'd expect them to be. There's also, I think, probably a few more guys still pushing. Demoniac is about to start his lap, but Humanoid, I think, will be the next one. Getting all kinds of out of shape on the last corner. Up to the line, what is this going to be? Oh, it's P12, so a bit off, but it is on the mediums. So you'd like to think on a sauce he can mix it up with around Steven, but he's still got a lot of time to find. I think that's Evil Zook again? Yeah, and he goes up into P4. So that's a bit more of a respectable lap time, gaining 1.7 seconds that lap. I think there's McLaren there. Oh, there's a spin, and Alpha King's out of the session. Just caught the end of that massive crash there. And that's not going to be ideal for him at all. For the first ever qualifying session he's going to do. Lewis has run out of fuel. I think the next car to set a lap, there's a Red Bull there. I think that's the wrong Red Bull. R7 Cryptic. It's going to come up to the line. It's P5. So a lot of people improving lap by lap, which is good to see. Just spicing up this qualifying. Andy as well. I think he's going to probably... Well, he's going to finish his lap. And I can't tell if he's improved there, because just I think the comments going away there on air, but I think there's another Red Bull coming through. I think this is a rise. He's invalidated. Oh, Steven, as there was actually an AlphaTauri, oh sorry, an Aston Martin going off of Humanoid. But Steven's going to also finish his lap or start a new one as he's got all the ERS in the tank. There's another Ferrari there of Demoniac who's going to go up into P5, top of the medium runners. So it's looking really good for the mediums that maybe they can all get into the top 10 and actually be fairly further up than they would have expected. Evil Zook's not improving on his lap. He's going to pit, which means the next car which will be coming across the line is Humanoid, who obviously had that spin. And Dan, I say for the second time, hopefully you are back here now. I think I spoke too soon once again, as Humanoid's obviously not going to finish this lap, but Paul isn't either, so both Aston Martins outside the top 10 isn't ideal, but Humanoid's going to push again, so we can see what Humanoid's going to do here. On the mediums, he's going to be wanting to improve from unlucky 13th. And Dan, I now dare say for a third time, are you back? And I think once again, I sadly spoke too soon. I think that might have been a Mercedes finishing their lap, but they didn't improve. There's a Haas there, I think Vandy, who also pits. So the next car who's going to come across the line is Arise, who still managed to keep this lap valid. It's not a bad lap actually, to be fair. I think he's going to be around P10. Hopefully I haven't jinxed it for him. He's running out of ERS here, so he needs to be careful. And it's P8 for the Red Bull, just behind his teammate in P6. And Dan, is that you turning on your mic?
It is.
And he is back. Oh, for the fourth time lucky. You've missed out on about half the qualifying session, but there's nothing to worry about. It's bar on top, but it's good to hear you're back. And obviously for the first season of FRL, I think we'll catch up with that. How excited are you to see this first F4 season in FRL?
Well, to be honest with you, mate, I'm really hyped up about it because there's new these are some new drivers that I saw a couple of weeks ago in the pre-season race, and now that they're coming to the first round of the FRL season, it's going to be new experience for some of them, for some of these new drivers that came in this season, and for not only me but for everybody else. It's going to be really exciting to see what these guys can produce on the track for us. And I've always said that the first race of every season in racing is probably the most important race of the season, because if you can start off the season finishing in the podium position, then you're setting yourself a target then to say, right, my target now is to go finish top 3 of the FRL championship, and that's what these guys are here to set out for. So I'm really hyped up about it, really excited to see what these guys could have produced for us here in round 1.
Yeah, definitely just a few people finishing on their laps, but I'm definitely with you with there. This is going to be hopefully a historic season. We're definitely going to see a race winner here today. So already there's going to be a record broken for the first ever FRL F4 drivers, just seeing Ayrton Senna there and validates, but also never had a pole sitter in FRL, as Jake goes from 17th to P6, and Barr is at the moment, the American is in that prime position. He's going to finish up his first sector here, see if he's up on his time, and he's actually up by a 10th here, so the American's going really well as he goes a bit out of shape, and he's managed to actually keep that valid. So the Alfa Romeo is probably not going to be improving, but we'll still go on board with him as he's, I think, backed off after a half spin there. But you were saying, Dan, just before the stream went live, that you thought Demoniac wasn't having the best of luck in some other leagues, and he's obviously moved to FRL, our team. Do you think possibly he can maybe get rid of that form and try and shake it off and hopefully bring some new kind of good energy to this track and maybe have a good performance today?
Yeah, if I'm honest with you, mate, like you've just said, that I said before we went live here that he isn't having the best of luck. There's something going wrong with the lad here, and he knows that he's a good driver. We know that he's a good driver. After finishing P1 in the pre-season race a couple of weeks ago, I think the problem with him there is he had a good run there, and then now he's on that run of form where he's going to struggle in a few races, and that's what's happening in some of the other leagues he's in.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I like Demoniac. He's a good driver. He pulls off the corners, most of the corners perfectly. So I hope that tonight he can break that form and he can finish on the podium position, because he has the potential here to do very, very well in this league.
Yeah, we're just talking about he went P6, but we saw VIPGA Gamer really mixing up there in second. What's a lap from him? I think the Aston Martin's on a lap. I think that's Paul. I think the next one to finish on a lap, I see an Alfa Romeo, and there's, whoa, God, Barr. Needs to be careful with that. He doesn't want to end his qualifying session earlier than he needs to. Just made a spin there, but I think he was Zook's also finishing on his lap, or it's not an improvement. So the next goes to the Mercedes. There's loads of laps coming in here, so a lot of drivers are just trying to maybe get in the mileage before the race, try and get used to the track, and that's quite important, isn't it? Just to embed yourself nicely within a track, so you don't kind of have those spins in the race.
Yeah, if I'm honest with you there, I'm going to fully agree with you there, mate. It's always good on every track to get, even if you get 3 or 4 laps in before the race kicks off, before the race starts, you need to try and do some practicing on time trials, something like that, just to get yourself ready for the race, so then you know what racing line to take, where to go, and if you do that, when it comes to the race, you're going to be pulling off some of these times, like Bar up there, 126.5, sitting in pole position. I assume that he's done some practicing before the race, and that's what you need to do. You need to be able to practice, get used to the track before you go into qualifying, and then once you feel like you're ready, and when the invites go out, get on track and show what you are made of, and get the position that you feel like you deserve.
Yeah, definitely. Once again, I think good points being made. A lot of these drivers need to kind of, first of all, probably finish the race. You know, you're not going to score points if you crash out, obviously. It sounds obvious, but it is necessary just to get over the line. And the drivers are going to be wanting to get some confidence. I'm looking at the 2 Red Bulls, which seem very close together in the 3rd sector. I'm not sure if Arsene Cryptic, I don't think he's pushing. I think Andy is finishing on his lap. He's 2 tenths down, so we could be seeing an improvement here by Andy. He's 4 tenths down, obviously being added to the FRL as there's a Red Bull there off. And I think he's going to pit. As I think he was saying, he was actually going to be listening to the stream during the race, so that will be interesting to see whether any of his calls will be influenced by us. But Lewis is also on a lap. This is going to be a really good lap, and it's pole by Lewis KOFC. Maybe the first ever pole in F4 FRL, and he takes by 2 tenths over Bar. He stormed there, just caught the last bit of his lap. And O'Stephen as well. O'Stephen on a soft, he's going to be improving, and this is going to be a top 5. It's just about top 7, still a second off Lewis. So he's got a lot of time to find the Brit. He's about, I think he did a 25.9 in time trial, so he's way off that in this session here. Got a lot of time to find, but what a lap that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought that O'Stephen was going to do a bit better there, but obviously he got the 127.2, and I think that he can do a lot better than that because he proved that in the pre-season race a couple of weeks ago. So he now needs to try and maybe go into pits, get some fresh tyres on, and get back out there, see if he can get another lap in, because I think he can do that.
Lewis, God.
I was just about to say, FRL Lewis has just gone into P2 with a 126.5, and the time difference between Lewis and Bar is really, really close right now. I feel like FRL Lewis and Bar are going to have a really good battle in this race, but I think that if Demoniac can get back out on track before his time runs out, get his out lap done, get onto his flying lap, I think that Demoniac has got a good lap coming his way.
Yeah, so Lewis 1-2 at the moment, so the Lewis is enjoying this one, and Arsene Cryptic goes 10th. We were talking actually in pre-season about not knowing Arsene Cryptic and Arise's best ever time, and kind of not knowing where they stood with pace. But I think that kind of tells you, I guess they're midfield runners, both of the Red Bulls. As I was just saying, Stephen here, I think he's slow on fuel, he's going to be pitting. And it's going to be really interesting to see whether Lewis kind of stays at, or both Lewises actually stay at the top with those 2 times. 26.3 from Lewis. I dare say maybe we could be getting into the 25s, or do you think that's a bit too much to ask for the drivers today?
I think that if they believe enough and they believe in themselves, that before qualifying's over, I feel like we might just see a 125.9 just creeping in there. But obviously it's round 1, people might still be a bit rusty going into the race, but once they get the feel of the track, I honestly think that we may see a 125 just before qualifying ends here. And if Bar can get onto his fast lap quickly, which he is on, I think he might be able to be the one to just creep himself in to the 125s there.
Yeah, no worries. As VIP GT Gamer, he's just starting a lap. I think there's a Red Bull maybe finishing on one, I dare say. There's also Cryptic. He's up by 5/10 here, so this is a dangerous lap from the Red Bull. He's going to storm all the way up to the line. What's it going to be? It's third place. Found loads of time there by him. Brilliant lap, and he's now mixing out with the big boys. So that's a sign of his pace, as I think there's an AlphaTauri on an out lap. So we do have a bit of a breather, but what a lap that was. I mean, you know him well, don't you, from other leagues, Dan? So was that to be expected? Is that kind of his kind of pace, usually?
Yeah, well, from some of the races I've seen that he's put himself in, he's struggled in some races. So coming into this league with some new drivers, with people who don't know that may be quicker than him, to get himself into the top 3 for the start of the race, that's a very good lap. And I was actually just watching Bart.
Yeah.
Off topic, I was sort of just watching Bart, and I thought he was actually going to get pole position. So I think he could have got 125 there, but he did invalidate his lap, so he has just slowed down. And I assume that's so then he can save his fuel and hopefully get another lap in.
Yeah, Evil Zook here, the other Alfa Romeo, is going to be trying to see what he can do. Avenge Bar's lap, because Bar was on for pole. Can Evil Zook get pole? And it isn't. It's 4/10 gain, but that only gains him a couple of positions. This feels pretty spread out, but at the front, it's actually very close. I think there's a Rise there. He's going to be finishing up on his lap. And just looking, there's a few more. I think, was that maybe VIP GT Gamer, who I might have jumped up there? Just trying to see who's also finishing on a lap. There's a Red Bull there slowed down. Is there a Mercedes of Race Your Death? He's lost his wing. So I reckon that Red Bull and Mercedes might have come together. Did you catch that, Dan? Because I didn't, sadly.
No, I didn't, but I was just looking at Andy there, and he has just moved himself up to P4, unless I'm just being slow, and he moved up to P4 about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
No, it was moved. Yeah, I don't know if he did just move up to P4 or whether he's been up there for a while. So if he's been up there a while, then I'm just, yeah.
But yeah, the checkered flag has gone out for this qualifying session. Seeing what Bar can do, and he's gone a bit wide, and he's sadly invalidated. I'm not sure whether that was going to be a pole lap, but he's actually got the exact same time as Andy, so that's pretty close if you ever wanted. The exact same time to the 1,000th. Well, not even 1,000th, it could be more than that, but Evil Zook here once again. He's going to try and go for a lap. He is low on fuel. I dare say he's not going to improve. And it's a bit painful for Evil Zook, because I don't think he's going to improve. He's only 10th off though, actually, so a lot better than what I guess we thought of him. Andy found lots of time in the last sector previously. Is this going to be even more time for Andy in this last sector? He's up to the line, and it's just marginally down. I think there's a Red Bull there of a Rise who's going to be finishing on his lap, and he pits. So the next one across the line is going to be...
It'll be Cryptic.
But Cryptic's down. So I think that's the final qualifying session. And Lewis is the first man ever to get FRL F4 pole. It's a Lewis 1-2 as well, so I don't think there's anyone else. So I do think it's a Lewis 1-2 at the moment. And I think that's going to be a joke that's going to keep on going right to the end of the season, as these two, they're actually fairly similar on pace, but what's a lap there from both Lewises, wasn't it?
Yeah, they have just set the mark there with 2 very good laps. So hopefully we do see an amazing start to the race between the Lewises and everybody else that's in that top 5. I hope that we see a hell of a start to the race, and I think we may just see that because obviously we've got Mercedes, Alpine, Red Bull, Haas and Alfa Romeo all in the top 5, and all 5 of those are very, very good drivers, so I am really looking forward to seeing what these guys can produce on the first 5-10 laps of this race.
Yeah, Lewis doesn't show his flag at the top there, but he's a Scotsman, so the Scotsman, as he says in the comments, he has made history, albeit the first ever pole, so history was going to be made already. But just looking, comparing it to last time, VIP GTA Gamer, he did a 25.9 in pre-season, and he could only muster up a 26.6, so maybe that shows his consistency isn't the best there. Oh, Steven got P3 in pre-season. He's down in P10, which is a really poor position to be in, because he can't start on the mediums or hards. It means he has to be on the softs. So that's not a great position for him, but as you said, Demoniac, who's probably going to be one to watch out for. He's in P9 on the mediums. Watch out for him. The mediums are really good around Bahrain. They can keep a consistent pace for quite a long time. Last you around 15, maybe even 17 laps if you're really pushing it. So we're going to see loads of different strategies, aren't we here, Dan?
Yeah, honestly, I think what most people around Bahrain want to try and do, because it's such an awkward turning to do when you come out of pits, people are going to maybe want to try and only do a one-stop strategy. So I honestly think that softs to possibly hards if you can, but probably softs to mediums would be the best, because obviously, like you said, mediums are a lot more consistent, a lot more. They last a lot longer in on a lap and stuff like that on the race. So I think that a soft to medium pit stop would be good. Just try and get the softs to go as long as you possibly can. Hit the medium compound tyres to the end of the race, and then hopefully you'll do really well. Yeah, I was honestly about to say to you, what tyre compound would you say is probably the best for this track?
Oh, Volvo's been disqualified. Oh, that's not a great start at all. I don't know how's he done that? I hope it's not a glitch. Oh no. Oh god, Ayrton Senna got very... I'm not sure whether that was luck or just the game, but he nearly went into him, and he do not want to be getting disqualified. As I say, that Bahrain and VIP GTA game have done just that. Their tyres are going to be freezing cold. Around a very hot track, it's not going to be the best. They're going to be getting wheel spin for days, but looking at F3, if you want to see the race start, you're going to have to be quite fast. F3 is just in the last corner. Michael F1 rounding him off for the formation lap. It's a Mercedes pole position for both F3 and F4. So the Mercedes is looking really strong in all tiers, to be fair, of FRL, which was said before. And they're backing it up. Lewis here leading them off. He's going at a quite fast pace, isn't he? He really wants to get the hammer down, doesn't he, on his formation lap?
Yeah, I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to get around the formation lap as soon as he possibly can, hoping that the rest of the grid will follow him. They'll get back onto the what's it called, where the grid will reform, and then hopefully they can start the race. And then if he can, he's going to try and use these soft compound tyres to his advantage, get away from the rest of the pack as soon as he can, and set himself that target of winning this race. But like we've said, anything is possible on a track like Bahrain. There's corners that you need to be careful of. I think it's like turn 10 and 11, I think it is. Awkward turns. But other than that, I think it's going to be a very, very good race to watch, and people will not want to miss out on watching a race like this.
Oh, yes. You can say that again. I think F3 might have started already, but F4 is just about to kick underway for the first time ever in FRL. So this is going to be absolutely extraordinary to see who can take the first ever win in F4. Lewis is on pole, and it's going to be an absolute stormer. Alpha King, I think, maybe it's just lining up. He's one of the last ones, as there's a Haas there making its way through. But Lewis is going to be the one to head them down into turn 1. So he would like to think. Who knows? There could be absolute carnage like we saw in Spain in pre-season. As we're just waiting for the drivers. I think we've got 5 red lights here. And it's 5 red lights. As there's a little wait. And there's a drive-through already for Ayrton Senna. And it's lights out. And it's lights out and away we go. And Lewis has got the best start, I think. Lewis, FRL Lewis in second. Awesome Cryptic on the trying to go round the outside. He goes down the inside of both Lewises. And there's an AlphaTauri there in the background. There's a lot of wheel banging. And Awesome Cryptic just kept it going. He's in second. The 2 Haases with Awesome Cryptic there will bang. But Lewis has taken the lead. And actually, the other Lewis in the Mercedes, he's actually lost, and it's another Mercedes of Race to Death is actually out, and Volvo is crashed out, and I believe there's a virtual safety car, as my PS4 was flicking up. I'm sorry about that, but
what's happened with Race to Death and Volvo?
I do not know, but Lewis has gone from pole to last, whereas the other Lewis is back on top. I think F3 are having a restart there, so sorry about the top of your screen being a little bit blurred there. It is a virtual safety car though, so we should be back underway fairly soon. FRL Lewis has just got a 2.6 second gap. And just looking through the order, let's see who's made up the most positions. As I butcher that, I think it's And we're back underway, and it's sadly a drive-through for Andy. Andy's actually been caught out there by some Cryptic, but it's Ayrton Senna, but he's got a drive-through as well. So in that case, it would be Alpha King actually in P8, making up 9 positions. So this race has already just got underway as there's yellow flags already. I think Lewis, there's cars everywhere at the moment. Ayrton Senna, he's off, and Lewis is making up positions there. I think there was an Alfa Romeo who spun, and it's a shame there for Evil Zook. Hopefully he's not got wing damage. Just looking, he doesn't have wing damage, so he's very lucky there. And R7 Cryptic, he's now going to take the lead. Did Lewis have damage there, do you think? The man in the lead, of course.
I'm not actually too sure, because I don't know what's actually going on with him, because he was doing really well and then all of a sudden he's obviously just coming out of pits now. But I don't actually know what happened to him there, because I was watching the other Lewis.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing now. I think he maybe had damage, I dare say. He wouldn't pit for no reason, I take it. Maybe he had a drive-through. But VIP GTA Gamer, he didn't have the best of qualifyings, and he's really going to try and capitalise on this. He's all over the back of R7 Cryptic. He's almost pushing him around the racetrack. The Williams is looking really, really rapid for tonight's race, and round turn 10, he's just all over the back of him. He's going to be sniffing that Red Bull. And just looking behind Jake, he's in third, so he's done brilliantly. He's only he's 2.8 seconds off after a lap, so that's not ideal for him. So he's going to have to definitely be going pedal to the metal if he wants to make up any position. And I think Cryptic's got damage here. He's understeering like crazy through the long right-hander of turn 12. And VIP GTA Game, he's going to put into overtake, and I imagine the overtake's going to be done on the main straight, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where you need to try and use that DRS to your advantage and gain on the guy in front of you. And I believe the DRS will be enabled this lap, which means people are going to want to be using it when they are as close to people as possible. But I am watching VIP Gamer, who has just come on the inside there of Cryptic and moved himself up into P1 there. And now Cryptic has got some gaining to do to try and get himself back in the race here. But these two are having one hell of a battle as Cryptic is now gaining on VIP. Goes on the outside of him there. VIP is holding his position very, very well though.
Yeah, VIP GTA Gamer making it looked a very simple overtake, but he had to be quite ballsy with that as... Arthur Cryptic, I think he's got... Well, looking at the damage, it's not that noticeable unless he's got barge board or even rear wing damage if someone shunted into him. It's not great for his race. A man on the mediums and a man on the mission is FRL Demoniac. He's up into P5 here, making up 4 positions. Alpha King, I don't know where this pace has come from, but he's into P4. I think if I check the positions gains, he's probably made up 13 positions from the back of the grids. Alpha King, I mean, I would already say hats off to him, but the race is only 3 laps in. It's a great race so far from the Alpine, isn't it? As there's, I think, a safety car or virtual safety car. No, sorry, there's yellow flags, and I say that, and there's a virtual safety car. Did you catch that? Why that was for?
No, I didn't.
Oh no, Humanoid.
I'm sat on Demoniac because he keeps gaining and then losing the time to Alpha King. But obviously, we are currently under VSC, so when the restart happens, I think Demoniac is going to be right up there, and he's going to be trying to push himself up into the podiums as soon as he can, because there is currently a four-way battle going on for P2 at the minute, and VIP GTA Gamer is currently over 5 seconds ahead of R7 Cryptic.
Yeah, I think Humanoid got shunted off there. Looked just kind of caught the end of that. It wasn't ideal, but he did well that the barriers are that far away around Bahrain that he didn't get rear wing damage. But he's actually going to make his way up into the points here, because Stephen, Paul's got balls, Bar and Andy, I think, are all going to risk it. No, Andy's going on a hards already. So there's some bold strategy calls here. I think it means Stephen, Paul and Bar have already locked in for a 2-stop. And there's even more drive-throughs. Humanoid, just after recovering from that crash, he's going to have to sell a drive-through, which is a shame for him. Alpha King, he's made up another position, the Alpine. This is absolutely brilliant, as Demoniac is right on the back of Jake Game here. Jake Gamer goes wide, and I think he might have damage of himself. Otherwise, he's made a massive mistake, and I think he's got no damage, but... Oh, this race just keeps throwing massive turning points, doesn't it?
It does indeed. That overtake from Demoniac just then, though, was a very good overtake. Jake Gamer went too wide there. I think it was turn 10, was it? He went too wide. And Demoniac capitalised on the mistake from him, and he moved himself up into P4, so he's now currently battling out for P3. And then if he can get into P3, he can then push himself for a P2. And
yeah, he's
exactly
on mediums.
What he wants to do.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I think that is a very good strategy, as he is now coming on the outside there of Alpha King coming into turn 1. He does get the overtake, but obviously has to back out to avoid any incidents. And he's now right up the back of Alpha King. So these two are still going head to head, as Demoniac is now getting DRS over Alpha King, once again heading into turn 3.
Rise is going to have to go defensive here. Jake is gaining heaps on bounce on him, and this is going to be a brave move from the AlphaTauri man, and I don't think he's going to be able to make it. I mean, there's yellow flags, so that probably put him off slightly, as I think there's FRL Andy there on New Hards, who's made a mistake, as R7 Cryptic, he's battling with Alpha King, and Demoniac's in on this battle. This is a three-way battle for P2, and just looking at the drivers here, they all go a bit wide. R7 Cryptic is really suffering with that damage, I think it's fair to say. His sparks go flying out the back of that Red Bull. And Demoniac, he's going to go inside of R7 Cryptic down into turn 11. Can he make it stick? The Red Bull actually very ballsy on the brakes there. He's going to try and stick it around the outside. Very aggressive, but great defending from Cryptic.
Oh, that was very, very good defending there from him. I've just been watching the battle, and my god, I honestly thought that Demoniac was actually about to pull off a double overtake there, going into turn 11, but obviously he couldn't, and he is now still right up the back of Cryptic here, as he is about to get DRS on that final straight, so he's now got to try and use that to his advantage, as he has done, and he is going on the inside there of Cryptic, and he moves himself up into P3 there, and Lewis KYFC actually gets himself at the fastest lap, obviously, as you've just seen, I'm guessing. Now Demoniac has now got to try and push for P2 and get Alpha King back down into P3.
Yeah, he's looking quite fast, but VIP GHA game, he's 7 seconds ahead. I mean, if there's no safety car, that could be already done and dusted. But R7 Cryptic, he's spun, and I think that just highlights the damage. Maybe there's been a lack of balance thrown in, because that is not what you like to see for the Red Bull man. And Rice, where's he come from? He might have a drive-through, which I'll check now. As there's more chaos going on, I think R7 Cryptic's really suffering. He's only got a 5-second penalty for, I think, speeding under in the pits, maybe. But then again, he didn't pit, so I think maybe that was under VSC, maybe hitting someone, I dare say.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened to Arise there.
Ooh, R7 Cryptic. Ooh.
But if Arise goes into pits, he can get rid of that 5-second penalty, come back out, and hopefully he will do himself some good. Demoniac, when he comes around this corner, needs to try and be as close to Alpha King as he can to try and put himself up into P2 there, and then he can start pushing and hopefully see if he can gain some time on VIP GTA Gamer and see what he can do.
Yeah, I think R7 Cryptic's losing his head a bit with the damage, but we're going to focus on a battle for P2. Demoniac's going to steam down the inside, and it's going to be P2 for the Ferrari man. Alpha King can do absolutely nutpoir as Demoniac takes P2 around Sakir, but he's not going to give out without a fight. He gets heaps of oversteer. I think he's got a lot more ERS. He does. Alpha King has way more ERS than Demoniac. He's going to think about going down the inside of the Ferrari man, and he thinks better of it. And Demoniac, you might think, you won't be wrong probably in thinking he might go right off into the distance, hunting off for VIP GTA game, as R7 Cryptic does pit for that damage. And there it is to confirm, he does get a new front wing, as Arise is actually out of the race. And that's a safety car.
Oh, and this is perfect right now for Demoniac. Get that safety car. Obviously, we don't like seeing safety cars in races, but this is going to be perfect for Demoniac now, because he can now get himself right up the back of VIP GTA Gamer, and hopefully he'll be able to push himself into P1 unless he decides to pit.
Oh no, Humanoid's done it again. He sped under safety car, and he's obviously very new to league racing like a lot of these guys are, but it's not a great error, and he's done it twice again, as he's done it again! So, maybe there's a glitch here. I think that Andy and him are trying to give the position as this is not ideal. Let me check whether he's got 2 drive-throughs, because if so...
For me. He says 1 for me.
He's lap 7, I think we're on. He's been given 2 drive-throughs on my screen, or on my end, so that's not great at all. But VIP GT Gaming, he's gone mediums, and I think he could have gone hards to the end of the race there. So is that going to bite him? Maybe. Demoniac's gone softs, so the strategies are a little bit confusing, and I don't think... Surely someone's going to go onto the hards. No, I don't think anyone's going to go onto the hards. Surely O'Stephen is. I think he's got the hards ready. And I think this could be a O'Stephen masterclass on VIP GT Gamer. He's been...
Qualified.
For, I think, maybe overtaking the safety car. And that is... Ooh. We saw it with Macho in Vietnam last season in F2 when he got disqualified for overtaking a safety car, and it's very, very sad to see for VIP GTA game. And he's not even going to get a scruff of a point. He's going to be right down at the bottom. That's just not ideal at all for not only him but for the Williams team.
No, I know, and that's unfortunate for the lad there because he was doing extremely well, and to see somebody get disqualified like that is really unfortunate to see in league racing. But now Demoniac, that's probably giving Demoniac that spark of life that he needs to try and move himself up, which he's got himself now into the P1 position, and he's now just got to try and hold that for the final 21 laps in this race. And if he can hold this out now, he'll do really, really well come the end of the race. But he is on the soft compound tyres, which means he will have to pit again, so we need to try and get that time away. And apparently he's now got a 5-second penalty with a collision with Alphakin there. So that's going to set him back a bit, so maybe the pits would probably be the best idea to go in now, and possibly even go on to medium, potentially hard, whatever he's feeling. Yeah,
that's definitely not going to do them the world good. And 5 seconds can be removed if it's one of neither of the driver's fault, but obviously it's usually someone's fault. Especially there just chimes in the comment section, yes, we're on flashbacks, or is he Macho himself driving in F1 now, so he's made the step up. As I saw their Collini squad said Evo, and Evo's DNF'd as well. So some of the guys haven't had the best of luck, but at least we've still got 12 guys running, Dan, unlike the 3 we had with a few laps left in Spain.
Yeah, I'm loving seeing what we're watching right now. We've got 20 laps to go, and I'm really proud to see that we've still got over 10 drivers left on the grid, which means hopefully we'll see more battling from the end of the race. And to be honest, I hope it's really tight towards the end of the race for the P1 position, because then we get to witness a hell of a battle, and we get to see what a good battle looks like, and not like a couple of weeks ago in pre-season, like you said, in Spain, when we only finished with 3 drivers. So to see 12 drivers on the grid, I'm hoping we see at least 10 drivers or more for the final of the race. For the final lap of the race, so then we can hopefully see some battles to try and get themselves in as many points as possible. But as it stands, it looks like Demoniac, if he can get away after safety car, he will be looking and focusing on getting that P1 finish, and hopefully he will be setting his sights on the P1 finish and getting 25 points for himself and the Ferrari team, which will be a hell of a start to the season for himself and the rest of the Ferrari team.
Yeah, definitely agree there. But speaking of Ferrari, Stephen, I could have sworn he got overtaken by both Aston Martins there. Paul hasn't received anything, so I assume Stephen just was a bit cheeky there, maybe dive bombed in them into turn 1, had to give back the positions. Umanoy is going to have to be really careful here. Hopefully he's listening. He's going to have to serve those drive-throughs, especially if he's got 2. Because obviously if he doesn't, he's going to get disqualified. And he's done 9 laps, the most he's ever done in an FRL race, unofficially and officially. Obviously not making the Belgium social race for the race. I think in Bahrain he wasn't there, and for Spain he crashed lap 1, not even making it to turn 1. So he's made, in that sense, improvements, but as you said, Demoniac, he's got a brilliant opportunity here to run away from the field. He is on soft tyres, as I should look at the tyres actually, and he is on softs with Alpha King. So you'd imagine those two are going to run away with it. He's going to have to be careful. He's a bit too close to the safety car, So, as they get really close to drive, so hopefully there's no 5-second penalties, which is usually the case. But he goes off. Is it going to auto brake him? He doesn't. He gets away with it. So we're back to green flag running, and Demoniac's got not the best of starts as Paul dives into the pits, and it doesn't seem to be any action into turn 1. But as I say that, FRL Andy going round the outside of Stephen. What a move there! Switches to the inside, and that's job done for FRL Andy on the used hards. I think that's maybe because Stephen's tyres aren't getting warmed up enough. But what's the move there from the FRL man out of Andy, obviously.
Yeah, that was a very, very good move that he's just pulled off there. And like you said, it's probably because Stephen's tyres are probably still a bit cold, and he's just trying to wear them in a bit. And I think once he manages to get them going a bit faster and he gets used to them, he may just get himself back into the race. But as it stands, it looks like that Andy is actually trying to push himself up into P7 now, but I think he is actually losing the time. And yeah, that's it really. I'm really excited now because of how close this race is becoming for everybody.
Evil Zoo, good move there. I think he was, as you said, yeah, I totally understand. This is going to be a great race, but still 19 laps left, so plenty more. And Demoniac, he's actually not running away with it. Alpha King's sticking with him, and they both got the same amount of penalties. But I think what we saw there was maybe Jake Gamer having a poor exit out of turn 10 and down into turn 11. It's just Evil Zoo just sent up the inside there, making it an Alfa Romeo 4-5, which means I think they'll be sitting second in constructors at the moment. But J-Game, he's not going to go down without a fight here. Down into turn 1, it's going to be the inside for the Alpha Tauri, outside for the Alfa Romeo. Jay's going to stick it round the outside, and now, oh god, Evil Zoo getting very, very close there to Jay because he just catches a slide there. Humanoid, I think, serves the drive-through, which is good to see that he... Yeah, and Andy as well. I think gets past there with Stephen, but Stephen's not going to go down without fight. And now Awesome Cryptic's locking in the background as well. As Alpha King, I think he might have spun. Alpha King spun, so he's going to drop down the field as well. So maybe you saw something there that I didn't, but you were looking, weren't you, at the Afro Andy, as Afro Andy also goes off. So absolute chaos again under the safety car. Dan, do you think this is because they haven't warmed up their tyres best out of anyone?
Yeah, I think that when you're using the hards, you need to wear them in for about 4 or 5 laps before actually thinking about getting up to your normal racing speed. Obviously race at a speed where you can keep yourself in the race.
Bars off, yeah.
Sorry. Keep yourself, you need to go at a speed where you can keep yourself in the race, but also warm them up enough so you're not going out of the race early on. And I think that's what they're not doing. They're just trying to go at racing speed straight away, getting up to the speed they can get up to, and they're just spinning all over the place. So with certain tyres you need to just calm down with them a bit and just go at speed where you can stay in it but also warm them up a bit.
Yeah, I can't. I think all the drivers are almost kind of wanting to butt in there. Bar went off there as you were speaking, and Andy is going to go down the inside again. So he's loving turn 1 at the moment. Down the inside of Arsene Cryptic, who was trying to go down the inside of Mr. O'Steven at the last corner, but he couldn't pull it off. He actually cut the corner and got a penalty, but the midfield battles at the moment are brilliant. Arsene Cryptic going to go down inside again. He's going to try. I think he's a bit too desperate here. He needs to just be patient. And he was way too far back there to make a move. So he's just going to have to bide his time here. Jake as well. He was on the back of Evil Zook. So the podium positions are still all to play for, aren't there?
Yeah, they are. And this race is really starting to become really, really intense as it gets on here. But I think Demoniac is actually setting his sights on the P1 finish right now, and that's exactly what he's setting himself out to do. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens now in the final 17 laps I think it will be. So let's just see. And I think O'Steven is actually trying to gain some time there on Alpha King, and I think that's exactly, no, he's losing time actually.
And Alpha King, that's why, because he's going to go down the inside again. Another move into the last corner. They're going to bang wheels, so they're going to have to be careful. Hopefully Jake's not spun. He's still there. But yeah, sorry to butt in there, but Stephen, he's actually now starting to gain time. So do you think possibly on a hard tyres he'll phase in as Jake once again? These Jake is loving a battle this race, I'll tell you that. But do you think OC will phase in on those harder tyres maybe towards the end of the race as the tyre wear increases for these guys?
I think that, yeah, basically what you've just said, I think that O'Stephen and Andy are going to use these hard compound tyres to their advantage because, as we know, the hards, they last longer than the mediums and the softs. So I think that's what they're planning out to do, one-stop strategy, and I think that's what they've set themselves out to do. They are now using the hard compound tyres, and all they've got to do now is just see it out for the rest of the race. Sorry, maybe I can't speak at the minute.
Yeah, me neither.
And all he's got to do now is just wait until the guys at the top pit again, because they're going to have to take advantage of that, and they will be up there into the podium positions, and it's going to be a lot to get back into the race for the guys currently sitting on the podium. But Demoniac looks like he is actually getting away from Lewis KYFC there. So he's now got to try and get within get away. Oh my god!
No, that's fine. It's fine.
It would help if he could get away within the 5 seconds, so then he can feel a bit more comfortable, a bit more relaxed heading into this race. But I think I can't remember. Did Demoniac start on the softs?
He didn't. He started mediums.
So maybe he's even trying to see these softs out now, which could be quite risky. But I think he will try and see them out now for the rest of the race. But if the tyre wear goes on, he's going to struggle really bad. He's probably going to start spinning a bit, and that will not be useful. So he's got to try and take it more easier, go around these corners as the race goes on.
Yeah,
and
I think.
By the way, I will be back in 2 seconds. My fiance has just called me, so I'll be back in 2 minutes, mate.
Yeah, no worries. As I think O'Stephen's fighting tooth and nail with just about everyone here. Andy went miles wide into turn 1 there. Totally outbroke himself, but who says you can't have overtakes around Bahrain? I know it is F4 and there are a lot of mistakes going around, but well, as I say that, I don't think anyone's got DRS on anyone, in fact, so it's going to be, I guess, a little bit of a quiet period at the moment. As I say that, I forgot. He has DRS on Umanoid and he gets a brilliant exit and they just bang his front wing on the rear left of Umanoid there. And Umanoid's, I think, going to let him through as he is fast. And I think that's, you need to pick your battles. And I think Umanoid's done just that. As I think there's just F3 maybe still having a restart. I'll check now. As maybe that's why... Anna, okay, so they're having a safety car, as I think Pablo Juarez, his internet's not the best, as he's actually running in P2 there, as I think we caught the back of a spinner, and that's R7 Cryptic spinning again, so it's not ideal at all for his race. He's not going to go the way he wanted it to, as FRL Paul's got Bull, he's in P8 at the moment. R7 Cryptic, he's going to try and look for a move into the first corner, but I think he's way too far back. And yeah, Dan's back, which is great to hear. As you actually haven't missed out on much, unlike the first time. No, well, as I say that, there's a spinning Mercedes. And that was Lewis KYFC, who we've actually totally missed. He was running P2 somehow. So he's really made a good comeback, hasn't he, Dan? From going on pole to spinning and going near the back as Andy's out. And I guess you caught that on the... Because I think that's where Arise crashed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. As he was going around the corner, he lost control of the car and he is out of the race, which is very unfortunate for the lad, because he was doing extremely well. And I was hoping he would do well in this race, but clearly that he couldn't keep the car under control. The hards got too much for him, and he just ended up spinning out the race. So that's unfortunate for the lad there. But all he can do is now is look on to the next race. Sorry.
Oh no.
I'm thinking of FIFA.
yeah.
All you've got to do is look on to the next race and come out stronger and try and push for a pole position in qualifying and push on for the win.
Yeah, I hope his career's not over with that one, Andy. I mean, he had a brilliant podium in Spain. There's just more yellow flags in the second sector. I think there's a bar there. Bar's off. Is that Umanoid who's been off as well? I'm just checking the front wings of them. I think maybe they had a collision. As Arsene Cryptic, he might be going for a move. He loves to move just about anywhere in the track. He could be turn 1, Bar could be last corner. He doesn't mind. He'll go for a move either way. And they're getting so close. Bar's all over the place here. Bar's actually going to go spinning off. And Arsene
no.
Cryptic there, he's just going to passed the wooden spoon very politely over to Bar. And Bar's at the moment going to be going home with 0 points. So he's going to be really wanting to change that, the American, as I imagine his tyres are absolutely boiling at the moment.
Yeah, he's now got to just try and think of how he can get himself back in the race, because he started on pole position. No, he started in, was it P5?
Yeah, or P4 actually,
P5.
maybe.
It was P4 or 5 he started. He's now got to look and think, if I can do that in qualifying, I know this is completely different because he's just over 8 seconds behind Cryptic here, but I think he does have the potential because he is gaining quite a bit of time here on Cryptic. So he's now got to use his advantage. He's got to use his tyres to his advantage. I know Cryptic's on fresher tyres than him, but he can't let that phase him. And I think I think what he's trying to do is just trying to make Cryptic panic a bit here by gaining as much time as he can and get himself right back in this race.
Yeah, I'm just seeing Andy there. He says it happens, move on, let's go on to the next race. I think that's a brilliant attitude to have. Just kind of move on to the next race, which I believe is China, which I think will probably suit Andy quite well as he's on pad. So hopefully for his sake he bounces back well. He's already got a podium unofficially in FRL, so I think he can be fairly well. He knows where he stands with his pace. And Stephen, I don't think anyone knows where he stands in this championship. He's got a lot of fans behind him, to put it that way, but he does have the consistency, but not quite the qualifying pace to keep him up there. But he's on track for a podium here, isn't he? Because those hards are definitely going to go all the way to the end.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because if you look at how many laps old that Jake Gamer, Evil Zook, if that's how you pronounce it, and Lewis KYFC, if you look at that, how old their tyres are now, they look like they're still going to have to pit in this race. So I think if Stephen can look on without getting any penalties now, I think he's going to be on for the win. And I think Demoniac's going to go to the end of the race on these mediums now. So something's telling me that we may just see Ferrari 1-2 here this season.
Yeah, I think everyone loves Ferrari in real life as well. It'd be brilliant to have Stephen and Demoniac get another one too. And obviously that happened in pre-season in Spain. So God, these Ferraris are absolutely going to be dominating, I'm sure, in F4. And it's not really their actual pace. They'll obviously argue it is their pace, but it's their consistency. As I think you were going to say, Jake Gamer comes in.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, like you said, Jake Gamer's just gone into pits, and now Stephen Demoniac have to take advantage of that, getting themselves as high as they can now. And then all they can do is just focus and look on and hope and pray that Evil Zook and Lewis KFC pit again, and they can take advantage of that and get themselves a Ferrari 1-2 here this evening, because that'll be a hell of a start to the season for the Ferrari team, which will put them first in the Constructors' Championship, so I believe. Whatever, I can't remember what I'm trying to say here now.
No, yeah, in the Constructors, Ferrari obviously looking good, but just seeing there in F3, Pablo, who's returned from the army, he's had, an awful Wi-Fi, to put it simply. I think they're having a second restart for F3, and we had one last time, didn't we, Dan? So I think our luck has been a little bit better, as just looking through the grid, who can go to the end? Well, I think we can rule out first, second, with Lewis and Evil Zook. They're going to have to pit ideally for themselves, probably for softs, right at the end as Evil Zook goes very wide. I think Demoniac will definitely go to the end. Lewis is going to have to pit as well. So I'm pretty sure everyone can go to the end, apart from Lewis and the top two. Which means, as I say that, Lewis pits. So I'm just trying to work out. Stevens in provisional P1. And Demoniac, as you were saying, we might have a Ferrari fight here. He's 5 seconds behind, make that 4.7 probably as he crosses the line. Or so. He's going to just come out ahead of the Mercedes Demoniac. So, Stephen, he's going to have to manage that gap to Demoniac, isn't he? Because remember in Spain pre-season where Demoniac was actually being the one who was being the prey and Stephen was chasing. It's now roles reversed, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and I think because Demoniac is on fresher tyres, and not only that, but he's also on the faster tyres, so I'd like to say, I think that Demoniac has got to take massive advantage of that now, and he's just got to try and push these tyres till the end, and hopefully he might just make it and get himself ahead of Stephen. But I think right now the Ferrari team, they're not bothered of who finishes where, just as long as Evil Zook goes into the pits and they can take advantage of that. Because if he goes into pits, that is a P1 and a P2 for the Ferrari guys, and that is exactly what they are setting themselves out to do right now. And I don't want to jinx it, but I think that Evil Zook may go into pits this lap. If not, it will be within the next 3 or 4 laps, because he has to go into pits because his tyres will not last till the end of the race now.
Yeah, I'm just I think Evil Zook, let me think. Oh, yeah, it's painfully close here. Evil Zook, I know him well. He would love a win. He could try, but he's going to be getting so close to a puncture. I don't think it's worth it. Because if we look at the leader, if he pits, he's actually going to come out P4. So it's kind of that thing of, like Raikkonen, I think it was in China, I dare say, where do you risk it for the win, where you can just pit for P4 or 5? I'm not sure whether it's worth it, as Lewis is actually pitting, so I think that means now, apart from Evil Zook, everyone's going to go to the end here. Jake, his actual brother, is now in P5 as a reserve. Jake he's not doing too bad, is he?
No, he's doing exceptionally well for somebody that gets called into the race for a reserve. I think that he's doing really, really well for himself here. Unfortunately, he's almost 11 seconds behind P4 here, but I think a P5 finish for him would do him the world of good, and I think he would enjoy a P5 finish here this evening, because even though it's not the podium, you can still say that you finished top 5 of the race, and I think that's exactly what he's set himself out to do here this evening. Get top 5, get the points, bring them home to your team, and then go on to the next race and try and push for the win, and hopefully your team will win the championship. But obviously we're still quite a way away from the final race of the season, but honestly, I think that Jake, he's doing really well, and I look forward to seeing what he can do throughout the season.
I've just seen Zero and Pettervol say Evil Zook can make it to the end on those tyres. This is going to mean a brilliant finish, because obviously he was going to have to hold off Demoniac. Sorry about all the notifications, that's because F3 is on a restart. I'll obviously sort that out for next race, but Demoniac, he's probably going to get Steven with all those fresher tyres. But can they get Evil Zook? I guess the kind of sister team, if you like, of Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo. He's putting on a brilliant performance so far. The thing is with him, he can actually pit and manage to come out around P4 or 5. So he's going to get points either way. It's just, does he risk it? I mean, Pettervol and Zero do say they can, and they're obviously in F1, they know their business pretty well, but do you think they can make it to the end, Dan? It's going to be very touch and go, isn't it, as Demoniac's right on the back of O'Steven.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how the end of this race is going to go, but I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a battle between certain drivers to try and get into the points. But if you look at the bottom of the grid there, where you see Humanoid and Bar, Humanoid may be just over 11 seconds behind Bar there, but he is gaining quite a bit of time, so if he can gain more time during one lap, I think he can get himself back into the race, possibly even hope that Bar pits, and then that's him up into P10 and the points are coming home to Aston Martin. But I'm currently watching the top of the grid here, as you do see Demoniac going on the outside of O'Steven there, and he's going to look for the overtake, as he does get the overtake in there, but the battle is still not over between the Ferraris, and Demoniac has now moved himself up into P2 there on the fresher tyres there. So now all he's got to do is just try and get away from O'Steven there, who does have a little wobble, but he's now getting DRS, which I'm sure he's going to try and use that to his advantage.
Yeah, O'Steven there did, as I like to say, get his pants pulled down there by Demoniac. He used the overtake to his advantage, and Demoniac now, he's chasing after the win, his second win in a row. And although he'll say, oh, he's F3 pace, I think F3 is quite a step up when you consider the likes of Michael F1 Cassidy. But he actually, Demoniac, is just his consistency. Like the Ferrari, as Jake Gamer, he gets overtaken by Alpha King there. I think Alpha King made a nice dive bomb, just missed that, so sorry about that. But looking at other battles around Jake, he should be able to stick with Alpha King. He's on one lap fresher tyres, and I think Jake's a fast enough driver. Penalty-wise, Jake's actually not great on penalties, so it's actually not going to affect him, as Paul's too far behind. Are there going to be any position changes? As I think Evil Zook, is that a puncture maybe? Is that a puncture?
I'm not sure, but I know he is off the track there, which is giving Demoniac the opportunity to move himself up into P1 there. So as it stands, it looks like the Ferraris are setting themselves out for a P1 and a P2 finish here this evening, and I think that will be the pits now for Evil Zook.
Yeah, he's going to have to turn off the overtake, definitely. And, yeah, who knows? That could be... Oh, no, as he speeds, I think that's... Oh, it's the most painful thing. He's not going to get that removed, obviously. And let's see where he comes out. Because if he can get double-digit points, which is going to be quite difficult, as Alpha King and Jake are going to go whizzing past him. Is he going to come out ahead of Paul? I think he is. And what's Paul's penalties like? Paul has got 5 seconds of penalties. And on those softs, I think Evil Zook could get P6, which I think he'll take. I mean, he doesn't finish races all too often. It's usually a 50-50 bet if you want to get in the points with Evil Zook. But, well, sorry, finish the race, I should say, as Jake came was actually on the back of Alf King. But I think you can. It's fair to say, isn't it, Dan, that Evil Zook just finishing the race, getting P8, with his teammate down in P10. That's not the worst kind of outcome to this race, is it?
No, it's not the worst, and it's not the best. I think that for the first race of the season, if you have collisions or incidents, which is going to cost you, you've then just got to try and sit in the middle of the grid and just hope for the best that you don't get penalties and they don't mess up your race. But I think to start off the season, to finish in the middle of the grid is a very good start to the season, and that's exactly what you need to be doing. I mean, obviously, they're not going to be getting many points for the first race of the season. They're not going to get as many points as they would love to have had for the first race of the season. But all they can do now is just hope and pray that Evil Zook can do something special and get as far away, and hopefully get away from them by about 8 seconds and keep his P6.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, poor Lewis. Oh, then again, his brother actually is going to go up into P5. Brilliant move. Hopefully they don't hit each other. Went so close there. And Alpha King actually maintains the position. I don't know how he did it there. He's got way more ERS. And it's a brilliant fight here for P4. But his brother, Lewis, he actually has a front wing damage. I think he's going to get the wooden spoon. And Humanoid on those softs, he might be actually able to get in the points, which is so bad for Lewis. That was close. Jake, I think you said there, has he got damage? He's got damage, so both brothers.
Serious wing damage.
Both brothers lose their whole front wing, as I think I might have jinxed it there. Humanoid, hopefully he doesn't have damage himself. I don't think he does, but I don't know what's come over them the last 10 seconds, but some sort of disease is just going round Sakir street track. Oh, Steven as well. Just looking at him, he's going to maybe be able to get into P2. Keep P2 from Lewis. Lewis is fast. We know he got pole in F4, obviously, so he's going to be steaming towards him. The gap is already down to 1.3. But Steven has a lot more ERS, so I think he's playing this strategically. And Evil Zook, we said, was he going to actually keep P6 and kind of stay there? And maybe make up a position on Jake and Alpha. And he's made the position on Jake. I know he's got wing damage, so Zook, obviously, maybe there's a very, very slim chance he can get a podium here. He's going to need double luck. Maybe the two Ferraris, or probably more likely Steven and Lewis collide. But, do you see any more overtakes going on in this race on track?
No. All I'm witnessing right now is a battle for P2 here between Lewis. I think Lewis is trying to ruin the Ferrari guys' his chances of finishing 1 and 2 here, because he is now within 3/10 away from Steven, and I think he is actually looking for the overtake, as he will be getting DRS on this straight here. Steven is spinning a bit now. These tyres are getting a bit old. All he has to do is hope he can last for the final 4 laps, as Lewis does go on the inside of him there, getting the overtake, and he is now parting the Ferrari guys away from each other. And now Lewis is going to set his eyes on finishing P1 if he can gain enough time on Demoniac.
I was going to say Steven has a lot of ERS there, but looking at the Ferrari car, absolutely understeering everywhere. But Steven, he's putting up into overtake. He's probably going to have to use a lot more if he wants to get close. He's going to have to use just about every ounce of ERS and probably fuel he has to get back up into P2. And I think Lewis has soared off into the distance there. The gap is coming down, though, quite a bit. 7/10, 6/10, 5/10, 4/10, almost 3/10. and I think Lewis is going to hold on, but Lewis has gone wide here. O'Stephen, he's going to need a brilliant exit, and I think that's the tyre difference there. O'Stephen performing a one stop, and I think that's job done for the top 3, you could argue.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. I think we've already got our eyes fixed on the top 3, and I can't see anything changing now unless there's a mistake from one of the top 3 guys, possibly even all 3 of them. I can't see the top 3 changing at all now. Alpha King's got to do something very, very special now to get himself up onto the podium. But right now I can't see anything happening unless, with the way that O'Stephen's got a lot of understeer, the only way that Alpha or anybody else is going to be able to get onto the podium now is if O'Stephen makes a massive mistake going around one of these corners.
Yeah, I think it's been, the lead has kind of been juggled around a bit. Zook had it, and then I think it was O'Stephen who took it, and then obviously Demoniac overtook him. Or maybe it was Demoniac overtook O'Stephen, and then obviously he overtook Evil Zook there. But it's the top 3 does seem fairly set. Can Lewis catch Demoniac? I'm gonna say probably no. We know how consistent Demoniac is. The Ferrari man, he's got 3 laps left to be the first ever FRL F4 winner. He's looking good, isn't he?
He is. Demoniac. I think we already know who our P1 finisher is here. I know there's 3 laps to go and anything is still possible because that time is coming down slowly for Lewis. But I cannot see Demoniac losing his P1 position now because he's very good at holding his position. And at the start of the race, like we said, well, like I was saying, Demoniac has not been the best in other leagues. But I think his run of form, his poor run of form is going to... Oh no.
I think he might have rage quit, yeah.
I cannot. I think Demoniac's run of form is going to come down to the end here. And Demoniac is now going to end his run of form with a very, very good win here. And hopefully he sticks to this winning form. And hopefully he's on the podium again and again and again because he's a good driver.
He's a very good driver, that's for sure. And Jake Gamer, he's also a good driver, and he's going to be even faster than he already is. He's on a sauce, bars on 14 lap old mediums. This is going to be night and day between them with the pace. But Jake is going to have to use a lot of that ERS to get past Bar, because Bar has got enough to probably make a good defence with 3 laps left. I think this is probably going to be the only overtake we see, but fair play to Humanoids. I mean, getting 2 drive-throughs in a space of, I think, 30 seconds, and managing to somehow stay in the race. And not even just stay in the race, but manage to get 1 point. He's also been a really good driver. R7 Cryptic, he spun about too many times, probably, he would say. And at the start of the race, he's managed to get up into P7. I'm saying all these praises, but I mean, this could not be the final order. You never know. R7 Cryptic can maybe get into the top 5 if there's some incidents. But Jake Gamer is the only overtake I can really see happening. He's in the DRS of Bar. The American's going to be looking in his rear wing mirrors, if I can speak. I think there's some sort of disease in his commentary with speaking. But the American just looking behind him. He's going to have to lift off a little bit, and Jake is getting more and more time here. Coming to the turn 13 on exit, Jake gets all over the place. Jake's actually got a penalty, so this actually isn't going to affect anything. And talking of penalties, there are the penalties. I don't think anything will change, unless I'm mistaken.
Jake
Paul needs
something very special if he wants to finish P8.
Paul needs to also make up, I think, 3.2 seconds. But Jake is going to make up the move on Bar. P8 for Jake. I think Bar's going to need 6 seconds worth of penalties, which is going to be for someone who's actually got no penalties this race. A lot of guys have actually got no penalties, so this is pretty impressive. But Bar, he's going to dodge all the way around the outside. Jake's going to leave just enough room, but Bar's not going to risk it. I think it'd be too risky with... We're actually already on a last lap, and I think Demoniac, I thought he's finishing the race there, but he's actually just starting the last lap as Humanoid spun.
Yeah, honestly, I can't see anything else happening now. Obviously Jake has got the overtake and he's now got to get away from Bar now, and I can't see it happening on this final lap. But it's been a really joy to watch here this evening as the race has gone on, and I think the race is settled now, and I think where the races are now, I think that's exactly how it's going to stay, unless there's a massive mistake on this final
I'm not
lap.
sure. I think, well, there's yellow flags, so I don't think you can discount anything. Lewis, I think, was there getting past Humanoid, so I think I got way too happy. And I think O'Steven would probably be licking his lips there, thinking that were yellow flags. But it was only for a back marker, so that's pain for him. But Jake, he's going to probably get P9 anyway, but he's not going to go down without a fight. He's catching up to Cryptic. I'll keep up the penalties because I think there could be some movement possibly with penalties involved, even though everyone's fairly spread out. It's a pretty lonely race for people like just looking Paul. He's 24 seconds ahead of P7 and he's 6 seconds off Evil Zook, but nonetheless it's a good drive for him. And I think Demoniac, he's coming around the last corner. And he's going to be the first ever FRL F4 winner. Demoniac, the Belgian's going to take the flag for Ferrari. It's a brilliant win, dominant display. Lewis, who took pole, he's going to get P2. Brilliant race from him. And O'Steven, it's been a long-awaited podium from him. He's going to drive home for his first podium in a very long time for Ferrari. Double podium. Alpha King as well. He's going to get P4 and he's going to stay there. As you could see there, the Ferrari pit crew are absolutely loving it. First and third, that's going to be 40 points for them in the constructors. Evil Zook as well, he's going to round off for P5. Brilliant race from him. Penalties I don't think are going to influence it as Paul takes P6, but Jake and Cryptic, they're really going at it, aren't they?
Yeah, I am actually sorry. I've just had my eyes focused at the top of the screen there, and it has just come up saying that a couple of people have just got a 5-second time penalty for not serving a penalty or something like that. So I don't actually know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think no positions have changed. I think a lot of those are speeding in the pits and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But Bar's going to round it off, and what a race. I actually called it 10 finishes. I said around a few hours ago, but a lot more finishes than we would have thought, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I'm actually really Alpha King driver today, fair enough.
Yeah, definitely.
I was thinking at the start of the race because I was seeing that there was almost pretty much a full grid. I was really looking forward to going into this race. We started off with 17, finished off with 10. I'm really happy that we finished off with double-figure numbers here, and everybody that finished the race, well done to you all. Points for everybody on that track that finished it, and I am very proud of each and every one of them here this evening. And a massive well done to Demoniac, a well-deserved win. And his run of form has now ended with a P1 finish. So that is exceptional
That's fine.
for Demoniac here this evening. So well done to everybody in this evening's race.
Yeah, and all those results, just digest them, sink them in. Demoniac, your first ever FRL F4 winner, hopefully first of many in FRL. He's looking so consistent, so controlled. Fastest lap as well, the full 26 points. He's someone to look out for. Lewis as well, with the pole lap. He's going to be in second, and he's also looking quite dangerous. VIP GTA Gamer, we forgot about him. He got disqualified. But who would you give driver of the day to, Dan, out of all the drivers?
Honestly, mate, I would. There's quite a few people that was out on track this evening that I could have given it to. There was R7 Cryptic, a very good driver this evening. Didn't exactly get the position that he would like to have got, but a very good drive. Demoniac, another good drive from the lad there. So I'll probably have to. And O'Steven, another Ferrari guy who was very good out on track. So I'm going to give my driver of the day to O'Steven here this evening because he did really well to get a podium. Was it his first podium or a long-awaited podium for the lad who hadn't got one? Has he got a podium before?
I don't know the exact stat because I'm not a statsman, that's for sure. But I'm pretty sure it's been a few seasons, to say the least, for O'Steven. So yeah, he's going to be absolutely mesmerised by this result. Yeah, I think a lot of people. Yes, sorry, you speak. Sorry, I keep going.
No, it's alright. You keep pausing, so I keep thinking. No, sorry. O'Steven, a very good drive from the lad there, and I think he deserved driver of the day for me.
And who wants to have a guess what lap F3 is? Lap 6. So
what?
they've had absolutely awful Wi-Fi issues. As you're probably quite pleased we finished, and it's not even 8:30 yet. It's 8:25, so it's gonna be great for us. Yeah. A lot of people's spare time it's passed for F3 at least, but we should probably get to the interviews. I was just going to quickly say my driver of the day would probably be Lewis from getting pole, which is already no mean feat with a very strong lap up at 26.3. And then obviously dropping down to last after that incident and then getting all the way back up to first. I think that was definitely a very nice but underrated comeback drive.
Yeah, Lewis has done really well this evening, and he deserved to be on that podium this evening. And he got exactly what he was set out to do when he went down to the bottom of the grid to move back up to P2. Exceptional drive, and I'm really proud of the top three here this evening because all of them had part of the race that was poor from them, and they were near the back of the grid, and they've all just moved right back up onto the podium. So well done to everybody this evening.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the drivers are going to be very excited to... Well, I'm quite excited to actually see what they got to say, so I'll see you, Dan, in the interviews in just a second. As we got a lot of drivers actually in the interviews. As all the drivers are here, hopefully the stream's still up. As we switch parties, just waiting for the stream. And we all fine, so I think, do we have Demoniac in the party to start things off with?
Nope. No.
So, do we have Lewis KOFC in second?
Yes, we do.
And, Lewis, you there? Actually, we'll go with O. Stephen. I think O. Stephen should be there, shouldn't he? O. Stephen?
Yeah, Lewis is here, isn't he?
I can't. Maybe he's muted. Let me have a check. Okay. Well, Lewis, it was a very up and down roller coaster of a race, wasn't it? You took pole with the 26.3, just about taking pole in the end, and then obviously you had the first lap incident. Do you want to talk us through your first reaction to P2? Are you disappointed or quite kind of grateful to still be on a podium?
No, I think it was a good result for me as on the first corner I did kind of a Nikita Mazepin.
Yeah.
And when I went to the back, it was because I was too focused on getting a good start from the Alpine, and then next thing I got through the first corner and I was gone. I went down the last, but I said to myself, I may as well just stay in the race and try to get some points.
Yeah, and you performed a very underrated recovery. I was quite surprised, if I can get my words out, to actually see you in, I think, the lead at one point after spinning. So, do you have any kind of, throughout the whole race, any bits and pieces, or actually turn or lap one was the issue? What exactly went on there? Do you think, possibly after that, maybe you drove a good race if you ignore that? Do you think maybe you could have got the win if you kind of exclude that little incident you had?
Yeah, I think I had the pace, and I was definitely top 3 pace in the race, and I think if I didn't spin I could have been in contention for the race win, but Demoniac was like, he was very, very quick today, and he had all the experience and the consistency.
Yeah, he definitely was, but you drove a great race, and I believe, I might be wrong here, I think it's China, then Monaco, so how do you fare in China? Have you practiced at China for the next race at all and on the F1 game?
No, I haven't drove China much on this new game. I've been kind of focusing on practicing for this race to get lots of points and get on a podium, which I have done. But no, I'll be practicing maybe tomorrow for China.
Yeah, good to hear, and once again, well done for the pole position with an absolutely storming lap of a 26.3, which was very impressive, and well done as well for P2. You kept up the consistency, so have a good evening and hope to see you back on a podium next week.
Thank you.
As Dan, I think you'll be interviewing O. Stephen, who's in P3.
Yeah, so obviously, O. Stephen, you there, mate? Start off with make sure you're there.
Yeah, me, yeah.
Great. So obviously you finished P3, which was really good for you. At what point did you feel when you moved down to P3? Did you feel like that you could have stuck with the P3 finish, or was there any parts of you that thought you could have got back into P2?
No, there was no way I was getting back into P2 because my tyres were, the last 2 laps they're on 85%, so yeah, going through them last 2 sections, I wasn't even using throttle going through the corners. I was just lifting and coasting, as they say. But yeah, I'm pleased with the podium today, but it could have been so much better if I hadn't have mucked up my last qualifying run.
Yeah, it was a very good race from you, obviously. So, what was the other one? Bloody hell, I'm losing it here tonight, guys. So, was there any, if you changed your tyre compounds, like lap 20-ish onwards, do you feel like you could have maybe pushed and kept, do you think that if you pitted just before Lewis, did you feel like you could have maybe got that P2 finish, or did you just feel like you were happy to stick with a P3 and just keep where you were and get those points?
By lap 20 odd, I thought I might as well just stay up because there were the people in front were already too far in front anyway, so I thought I'd just stick it out and anything can happen in this tier. So there could have been a safety car or anything, or people crash out or make mistakes, so I was hoping for some more mistakes, but it didn't materialise.
No, it was very unfortunate what happened. Obviously, I thought you had an amazing race, and I don't know if you're watching the stream, but I did actually give you driver of the day for me, for who I believe was driver of the day. So very good drive from you here this evening. And I look forward to seeing you next week in China, hopefully, if I'm commentating again. So have a good evening, mate.
Alright.
And that moves on nicely for the P4 man, which I think is Alpha King if he's in the party. I don't think we've interviewed you before, so this is going to be quite good to hear you for the first time. You got P4, and like a lot of drivers, you had a bit of a bumpy start to your qualifying session. At 12 minutes, I think it was the long right-hander of turn 12, you lost it, and you went absolutely spearing into the wall. Loads of debris was thrown onto the track. Was that just kind of a lapse in concentration during your qualifying lap, or because obviously you don't want to really DNF your first qualifying session, but in terms of the race you managed to make it work. But in terms of the actual crash in qualifying, do you feel that could have been prevented, or do you know the reason for that still? And obviously you had a brilliant race start, making, I think it was by lap 3, 13 positions from last. What was a secret ingredient to that brilliant start? Yeah, and obviously you kind of stayed around that kind of area. I think you maybe had one spin, I dare say? Or any did you have any other incidents after obviously getting up into that position? And you played that strategy really nicely. You kind of were sticking with Jake, but you actually managed to pull away from him. So, did you feel your race pace was quite good compared to some of the other guys? Because you were able to not just stay P4 for a few laps, but actually maintain it all the way to the flag. And it'd be interesting actually to know, because I think you were closing in on Stephen fairly late on. How many more laps maybe do you think you would have been able to get Stephen? Just maybe 5 or one more? Yeah, that's interesting. You really came on well. towards the end of the race. But in terms of China, I think if you can have the same sort of drive, is that what you're kind of aiming for? Another probably top 5 finish, I dare say, in the race? Good to hear. And once again, enjoy your evening. P4, very good result. Yeah, and thanks for racing as always, as hopefully we have Evil Zook here.
Yeah.
And Dan, you're going to be interviewing a very solemn Evil Zook, so I'll let you have the honours.
So, obviously at one point you were sitting in P1. At any point did you feel like you were going to take that race and finish P1, or at least on the podium?
Yeah, so I was looking at the times, and so Stephen wasn't gaining on me as much, so I thought I'm going to try and go to the end on the mediums, keep off the curbs and try and nurse my tyre to the end. Obviously I did have a 3-second penalty as well for I don't know what. It was probably something stupid, like exceeding track limits or something, so...
Yeah, obviously, at one point, I don't actually know. Could you just go through with me what happened? Because we actually went over, because you were dropping down the grid, and you was on the side of the track. What actually happened there?
Is this the incident with when I was leading, or was that at the start or something?
I think when you were leading,
yeah.
When you were leading, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, so I was going into sector 3, and it's the curb on the inside, which it just takes you out straight away. I caught that too much, and I spun and took out. I was going to try and save it so I didn't have to box, but it took part of my front wing off, and I had to box, so I decided to go into softs and try and salvage something out the race.
Yeah, and I think that was a very good, obviously, strategy to make to move on to the soft compound tyres. Was there any points where you thought you could? At any point was there any thought where you felt like you could have maybe got a bit more out of the race, like more points, or do you think you could have got the fastest lap or something like that?
I was going for the fastest lap while on the soft compound, but obviously I felt like I could have won that, or at least gone to the podium for the race. Of course, Demonac was catching me rapidly, so I knew I was going to lose first. And yeah, I mean, it's one mistake, and one mistake that cost me a race win and a podium as well, so, but whatever.
It was a very, very good race from you, obviously, this evening, and obviously, I think, like Buttonsy said, we've got China next week. How are you setting yourself up to go into China?
I'm going to do the same routine that I did for Bahrain. I'm going to make sure I'm going to be practicing my consistency and learning some strategy. So I think it was about 50% Grand Prix throughout the week. I do one on the Tuesday, one midweek about Thursday, Friday, and then one on Sunday or Monday. And in between, getting my pace up on it as well. So I've got a bit of a consistency pace sort of thing going on.
Yeah, well, I look forward to hopefully seeing you in China once again. And once again, very good race from you, mate. And good luck again next week. Have a good evening, mate.
And you, thank you for commentating.
No worries, mate.
And I think hopefully we have Paul here. Paul, you here in the party? Or... Well, that's good to hear you in the party, because you had a very, well, some would say boring race. You were sometimes, or most of the time, in no man's land, just kind of in your own little battle. But just overall, how would you rate that race and qualifying performance today? And as you said, yeah, you qualified, I think it was P11, which obviously wasn't ideal. You did manage, I think, to get in a lap in the end of a 1:27.2. Do you think you could have maybe found any more time in there? If you even... Yeah. By how much? Nah, yeah, it's fine. But you were actually only 1/10 off a P8 start. Do you think possibly that would have allowed you to get out of maybe some of the carnage and has a better overall race time? Maybe which would have got you a P5 possibly? Mhm. Mhm. Oh no. But yeah, I think overall, how do you rate that race performance? Do you think it was one of your better ones ever in FRL? Because, yeah. Isn't it the best with a P6? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, sorry, Stephen?
Sorry, I think that's the best place finish you've had. I think you've got 4 points before. Yeah. 8 points. You've doubled your points what you've ever got in FRL.
Ooh, not bad at all. But Paul, in terms of F4 overall, do you think that's something we will see more and more often of you? Are you kind of wanting to build on this and not just settle for P6, but maybe get podiums later on? Hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to hear that you're very happy with the P6, your best ever. And in terms of China, it doesn't end, obviously, going into next week. Is China one of your racetracks where you would rate it highly or not at all? Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, overall, very good points in the end. 8 points and 9 for Aston Martin. So you put a really good points haul for both your championships. So enjoy your evening, and hopefully we'll see more of that to come next week. As we should hopefully have Bar or Cryptic or Jake in the party.
Then we've got Jake.
Yeah, so Dan, you take it away. Yeah.
Oh, God. So, God, I apologise if some of these questions ain't the best. So, where was it that you finished? Was it P6, 7 you finished? So, it was a very... So obviously you finished P7 or 8. If you didn't have those penalties, P9. So finish P9. If you didn't have those penalties, how would you feel like? Where do you think you could have got like? And if you didn't spin or a couple of times, how do you think your race would have gone? Do you think you would have done better, or do you think you would have just stuck where you were? Yeah, I know where you mean. I was watching it. It was very unfortunate. Yeah, so, God, finding it hard to ask questions now. So obviously, if with the penalties and everything, how are you feeling about going into China next week? Like, do you think that you can do better than you did today, or? Yeah. And how are you going to set up for the race in China? Yeah. So, good luck in China, and hopefully you do really well. And yeah, so enjoy the rest of your evening and good luck.
And as that interview ends, still F3 with 19 laps and only 10 to go. But is there anyone else in the party out of wonder for F4? I think we might have one more.
FRL Lewis.
So we've got FRL Lewis, who was on the verge of scoring points, but sadly, I think you crashed and then rage quit, or retired the car, I think at least. But it was overall, I think, the qualifying P2. Would you say that took you by surprise? Because you were really, really fast, making it a 1-2 for both Lewises. And you had a good qualifying, and you were actually leading the F4 race for I think a few laps, but it did obviously start to unravel for you. Where I think you got damage, possibly, wasn't it, at lap 1, because you did pit. Was that damage, or was that something else we missed? Yeah, I know it's obviously quite harsh and you putting in a lot of practice, but in terms of the positives to take from the race, what kind of bits from this race would you bring on to China? Because you had a really strong qualifying, and at points in the race you were actually looking really strong on your race pace. So is it consistency you need to work on in the race, or just kind of cleaning out those mistakes, or something else maybe? Mhm. 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 Yeah, and you do seem in China. I think that would suit you as well, especially in the qualifying. So it'll be really exciting to see how you fare and if you can stay up there in the race as long as you do get a good qualifying. But best of luck, obviously, in China. Not the best race, but you can take a lot of positives in a week's time, and we will see you in Shanghai. No problemo. As is there one more? Maybe VIP GTA Games in the
Yeah,
party.
we've got to be VIP GT Gamer.
And I think you'll take.
No, but I finished last because of the disqualification. But
Oh, he
Evil
did, didn't he?
guy
He got
is
lap
before
5,
me.
wasn't he?
So
Well, so Evilvo is also in the party, I take it.
Hello?
yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Dan,
yes.
you once again take it away for the second to last man in the interviews.
Alright. So whereabouts was it that you finished? Sorry.
You speak to me or the
Yeah,
to,
I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking
Oh,
to
okay,
you.
okay.
Nice.
Okay. What happened? in the quali, my first run was on the mediums. I thought it was a better strategy because the softs are very fast. They are gone, you know.
Yeah.
Dus I thought I was on the one stop from medium to hard, but in the quali, I go for the second run and I crashed. So yeah, I crashed, and then I start 14th, and then the race. I think I had a pretty good start, and then I crashed in yeah, I don't know how to say. Sorry for my bad English.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's alright, mate, it's alright. So, did you feel like at any point you could have possibly done better than maybe got... Did you get points, may I ask?
No, I didn't score points.
Do you feel like
But-
you could have done... Do you feel like you could have maybe... If you didn't crash out, do you feel like you maybe could have got some points?
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah. In my time trial, I had a pretty good time. So I think if I wouldn't crash, then I think P4 or something like that, and then I score a lot of points when it goes right, you know.
Yeah. So, going into China next week, how are you looking forward to it? How are you going to set up for it?
Yeah, China. I don't like China. It's yeah. I don't know. It's not my track. For me.
Yeah, thank you for being in the race and unlucky for what happened, and hopefully good luck next week in China, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, sorry to interrupt. I am going to have to pop off because my fiancée is actually on her way home. So
I think we got one interview left as well, so that works quite nicely actually. But yeah, as we have,
yeah, I will have to go, guys.
I think it's the man who got disqualified, isn't it? VIP GTA game if you're there.
Yeah.
As I think he's the last one, unless let me check the party actually just to be sure. As okay, well it wasn't ideal at all in the end getting disqualified. I think we'll start with qualifying, where you in the end qualified P6, and in pre-season I think you did a 25.8 or 9, and you did take pole, and this time you did 26.6. So what kind of went on from pre-season to now?
Yeah, in pre-season I got P2, but today was not very good because I ruined my last lap, and my fuel was how do you say that? It was empty, and because I was in a half second, I was going up in my time. So if I had more fuel, I certainly got pole, but my fuel ruined it. Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of qualifying, obviously not the way you wanted to end it with running out of fuel, but in terms of the race, you absolutely stormed away with a 7-second gap in the race. You were looking really strong, probably the man to beat in the race. But do you want to just kind of talk us through what actually happened with you and the safety car? Because it said you got disqualified for ignoring yellow flags. Do you want to kind of explain that?
Yeah, I got out of the pits with fresh tires, and the safety car was standing still, so I thought, we had to do another lap and then go behind the safety car. But when I passed it, it said go back and go behind the safety car, and I pressed the brake, and I was disqualified. I was very mad, still am, because I should have won the race. Demoniac drove amazing tonight and finished the job well, but I deserved the win, I think, and yeah, the game ruined it for me.
Yeah, I don't think there's any cockiness in that. You would definitely had the lead there. I think that's fair enough to say, but yeah, we've seen it before with, I think it was Macho in F2 last season, with overtaking a safety car and only getting 1 or 2 seconds to let the safety car re-overtake you. And it's a big shame that for you. But in terms of, I think, China and the rest of the season, surely you're going to be looking to get your next race win, maybe even as soon as China, if the track suits you.
Yeah, I'm gonna practice a lot because I really, really want to win the championship in the first F4 of your league, and from these things we learn and we take that to the next race, and hopefully I can win the next race and get some good points for the Williams team.
Yeah, good to hear. And obviously, really bad luck in terms of overtaking the safety car and having that nasty disqualification. But best of luck in China. I think a lot of people will expect you to bounce back.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Great commentary today.
No problem. And I think that wraps it all up. Well done to all the drivers as well, and obviously all the viewers who tuned in up to this point. Obviously, having 17 F4 drivers for the first race is a lot better than when we had 14, and I think it was even 9 for Bahrain last time. So, big improvement from the drivers' attendance and the viewers tuning in. Great to have the first ever F4 race. Obviously, a lot of good people enjoying their performances, a lot of people obviously not, but it should make for a really good Chinese Grand Prix. A lot of drivers will be looking to redeem themselves, and it's going to be an absolute stormer. So I think we'll all from FRL see you till then.